So the way that they explain jamming is this. You equate being against homosexuality with being part of the KKK or skinheads or neo-Nazis. So that when people think about homosexuality and they think about whatever, their biblical position on homosexuality, their biblical position on gay marriage, that they automatically have a check. They're jammed, right? It's like you've got a machine and they throw sand in the works so that the machine gets jammed and it doesn't work. So now you have to stop because you feel bad about believing what the Bible says about homosexuality.
There is today an all-out attack from the media and from celebrities against what the Bible teaches about homosexuality. Let's take a look at the most influential 15 celebrity activists who are trying to undermine what the Bible teaches, and then we'll conclude with some final thoughts. So make sure you stick around until the end to hear them. At number 15, we have Barack Obama, the former president of the United States who is now basically a celebrity. Here's what Obama used to believe about marriage.
I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman.
However, after it became politically advantageous for him to do so, Obama completely changed his position.
At a certain point, I've just concluded that for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
And in response to the Supreme Court's Obergefell ruling, which legalized same-sex marriage across the country, Obama shined rainbow lights on the White House. Few have done more harm to the concept of marriage than former President Barack Obama. At number 14 is Pink, a singer, songwriter, actress, and dancer. Pink won the Ally for Equality Award at the Human Rights Campaign's 14th annual National Dinner and said this:
I don't want there to be gay marriage. I just want there to be happy marriage and lasting marriage and healthy marriage. And I look forward to a day when we don't have to talk about it anymore. But that's far off. And thank you so much to the HRC for moving this along with the human race.
This is the kind of language we'll see from many of these celebrity activists. They describe LGBTQ rights as simply human rights that should be common sense for everyone to accept. And anyone who continues to believe the outdated ideas that homosexuality is a sin is backwards and a bigot. And here's Pink telling Christians that they shouldn't be concerned about the idea of same-sex marriage.
The whole marital debate, I know it divides people, but what does it have to do with anybody else? That's my thing. You don't have to agree with it. You can hate it, but it just doesn't concern you, and it shouldn't concern you. It shouldn't concern anybody, especially if love is what we're fighting over. We're fighting over love.
But actually, that's not just what we're fighting about. The debate is far more serious than just about love.
Homosexuality is harmful because it harms the gospel. Marriage is a living, breathing picture of the relationship between Jesus Christ and his bride, the church. Marriage says something about the gospel. Marriage paints a picture of the gospel. And when we turn our idea of marriage into something that is directly opposed to what God says about us and about himself, then we are doing harm. We're doing harm to the message of the gospel. We're doing harm to the name of Christ.
At number 13, we have Jay-Z, a rapper, record producer, entrepreneur, and husband of Beyoncé. Jay-Z won an award for his song Smile, where he raps, "Mama had 4 kids, but she's a lesbian. Had to pretend so long that she's a thespian." And Jay-Z said on CNN that opposition to same-sex marriage is simply discrimination.
You choose to love whoever you love. That's their business. It's no different than discriminating against blacks. It's discrimination, plain and simple.
At number 12, we have Beyoncé, Jay-Z's wife and one of the most influential music artists in the entire country. In Beyoncé's commencement speech to the class of 2020, Beyoncé said this about queerness.
To all those who feel different, if you're a part of a group that's called other, a group that does not get the chance to be center stage, build your own stage and make them see you. Your queerness is beautiful.
And in 2019, Beyoncé and Jay-Z together won the GLAAD Vanguard Award for being allies in promoting acceptance of LGBTQ people.
I'm hopeful that his struggles serve to open pathways for other young people to live more freely. LGBTQI rights are human rights.
Again, we're hearing that LGBTQ rights are human rights that should be the most normal thing in the world to accept, and any Christian who believes what God says about homosexuality is an enemy of basic human rights. At number 11, we have Chris Evans, one of the most popular actors in the country today. In response to criticism against Lightyear pushing an LGBTQ agenda, Evans called all the critics idiots and dinosaurs who will simply die off.
Whenever you do something about representation or diversity or whatever, there's always pushback. How would you counter that, I suppose?
Well, the real truth is those people are idiots. There's always going to be people who are afraid and unaware and trying to hold on to what was before. But those people die off like dinosaurs. And so, I think the goal is to pay them no mind, march forward, and embrace the growth that makes us human.
There is so much condescension towards Christians who simply believe what God himself says about homosexuality in his word. At number 10, we have Anne Hathaway, one of the most popular actresses in the country today. Like Pink, Hathaway received the Human Rights Campaign Ally Award. And in her acceptance speech, Hathaway said this.
There are people who have said that I'm being brave for being openly supportive of gay marriage, gay adoption, basically, of gay rights. But with all due respect, I humbly dissent. I'm not being brave. I'm being a decent human being. And I don't think I should receive an award for that, or for merely stating what I believe to be true, that love is a human experience, not a political statement.
Hathaway here flat out states that anyone who continues to believe and say that this kind of behavior is sin is not a decent human being. Also, Hathaway ignores the fact that not all types of love are good.
We know these things aren't true, that pedophilia is somehow okay.
Because we're minor attracted persons now.
Right.
Yeah.
At number 9, we have Miley Cyrus, another one of the most influential music artists in the country today. Cyrus is an activist who is very much in the LGBTQ movement, having identified as pansexual.
I think I'm weird because that I feel very genderless, I feel ageless, I feel like I'm just spirit.
Miley, it really doesn't matter how you feel. God created people male or female, and to reject that is to reject God's perfect design for humans. At number 8, we have Lena Dunham, a popular writer, director, actress, and producer. Dunham tweeted, "It's blindingly clear to me now things I love to write about, bad behavior, etc., are allowed and welcomed because of my race and privilege and het cisness. The goal now is to use my platform to support emerging black artists, BIPOC artists, LGBTQ artists." The Hollywood Reporter reported that Dunham was awarded the Horizon Award for her work as a young trailblazer who has taken a leadership role as an advocate for LGBTQ+ issues. At number 7, we have Brad Pitt, one of the most popular actors in the country. Listen to what Pitt said about gay marriage.
It's one of our last big issues of equality. What makes this nation great is our freedoms and the idea of equality, the true idea of equality. And in that definition, there's a certain faction of our society that is not being included. And that's that time. It's time to go. Yeah.
Pitt even decided to delay marrying Angelina Jolie until marriage was also a right for same-sex couples.
You guys had once famously said that you would hold off on getting married until everybody could get married, and I know now you're engaged. You said you were doing it for the kids, which obviously everybody's very excited about.
Pitt has also played a role in pushing his son, who identifies as Angelina, to become a famous transgender icon, which is just an absolutely horrific thing for a father to do. At number 6, we have Ellen DeGeneres, one of the most famous talk show hosts in the world. who is also a lesbian. In 2016, DeGeneres was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest award given by the president to a U.S. civilian for her work to advance LGBTQ+ rights. When President Obama presented DeGeneres with the award, he said this:
It's easy to forget now, when we've come so far, where now marriage is equal under the law, just how much courage was required for Ellen to come out on the most public of stages almost 20 years ago. Just how important it was, not just to the LGBT community, but for all of us.
It's very troubling that sin is being celebrated as normal and brave at the highest levels of government in this country. At number 5, we have George Clooney, one of the most popular actors in the country. In 2019, Clooney was recognized as an LGBTQ+ advocate in Variety's Power of Pride issue, after years of speaking out in support of the legalization of same-sex marriage in the U.S. and his work for the American Foundation for Equal Rights and the American Foundation for AIDS Research. In response to rumors that Clooney is gay, Clooney said this:
The last thing you'll ever see me do is jump up and down saying, "These are lies." That would be unkind to my good friends in the gay community. I'm not going to let anyone make it seem like being gay is a bad thing. My private life is private, and I'm very happy in it.
The implication is that it's absolutely wrong for anyone to even suggest that there is a problem with homosexuality. At number 4 is Daniel Radcliffe, best known for playing the role of Harry Potter. Radcliffe won the award for Straight Ally at the British LGBT Awards, and in his acceptance speech, Radcliffe said something very similar to what we heard Pink and Anne Hathaway say.
It is slightly double-edged because it's sad that an award for this needs to exist, and it is odd and bizarre that I am essentially getting an award for displaying basic human decency in a sort of high-profile way. I feel like a wonderful thing about the future will be that there will be nothing remarkable about a straight actor saying, that he supports gay rights in all their forms all around the world.
Again, supporting gay rights is just basic human decency and should be the obvious and moral thing to do, and Christians who believe the Bible do not have this basic human decency. At number 3, we have Oprah Winfrey, one of the most powerful and influential media personalities in the country. Oprah even said she would be willing to go to hell for defending LGBTQ rights.
The God I serve doesn't care whether you're tall or short, or whether you were born black or Asian or gay. I take full responsibility for my going to hell or heaven.
What's shocking is that Oprah even claims to be a Christian and has support from extremely popular pastors such as Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes. At number 2, we have Lady Gaga, another one of the most popular music artists in the country. Lady Gaga's song Born This Way has become an anthem for the LGBTQ community. And in a speech where Lady Gaga advocated for gay rights, she said this:
I am so very honored to have this platform here today, and I will continue to fight for full equality for all. I love you all so much. Bless God and bless the gays.
Bless God and bless the gays. Absolute blasphemy to associate God with approval for sin. Finally, at number 1, we have Ellen Page, who now identifies as Elliot Page.
It's getting out of the shower and the towel's around your waist and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, there I am.
Page is perfectly willing to attack people she disagrees with without any real provocation. She randomly tweeted concerning Chris Pratt, "Okay, but his church is infamously anti-LGBTQ, so maybe address that too?" Clearly, Page will not rest until everyone she disagrees with is shamed into silence or becoming an ally. In light of all this opposition against biblical Christianity from so many of the most powerful and influential people in the country, how should we as Christians respond? To conclude, let's listen to some words from John MacArthur.
Because if you will recognize this as sin, see it for what it is, quit trying to defend it and sanctify it and justify it, confess it as the sin that it is, cry out to God, He'll forgive you and wash you and sanctify you and justify you. And dear ones, this is the message we have to give to these people. There isn't any other message. I remember one night on the Larry King program talking to Chad Allen, the actor, about this very thing. And I started in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, that someone engaged in this kind of life as he is would not enter the kingdom of God. And then I went back to that same passage at the end and says, but such were some of you, but you're washed and sanctified and justified. And I told him that God would forgive him and wash him and justify him and sanctify him. That's the message. That's the only message we have.
Thank you so much for watching into the end. If you'd like this video, hitting the subscribe button helps this channel reach more people with the truth. Thank you so much for your support and encouragement.